Hey, what's happening, everybody? This is Tap In with Tezlyn Figaro. Thank you for tapping in with me. I brought back one of my favorite people to bother in the world. One of my favorite persons. Her name is Michelle Wadley. She's the founder of Shirley's Kitchen Cabinet, and very close friend of mine, partner in crime in business, politics, and just somebody I just truly like to bother. I mean, really, honestly, this is like, I'm not joking. It's not a game. Sometimes when I just feel like picking an argument or, nothing to do, I just randomly call Michelle.
Happy to be here this morning and to be bothered by you. Of all the things in life I could be bothered by,
Isn't it a blessing to be bothered by me, though, honestly? Out of all the
Yes, I thank the Lord often to be bothered by you. Of all things he could be bothering me with. So yes, thank you, Tezlyn.
Well, I brought Michelle back because we had the conversation about Fani Willis, the Fulton County DA. We had the conversation here on Tap In with Tezlyn Figaro, and then we extended the conversation outside of Tap In with Tezlyn Figaro for about 5 hours until I was able to really drill in my point. Now, the thing about Michelle, when she's locked in on something, she is locked in, like locked in. And sometimes I just think she's locked in just for the sake of being locked in, to be honest, just to get my blood pressure up. But when she stands on business, this woman stands on business, right, wrong, or indifferent. So I am curious to have this conversation. This is actually the first time we've had this conversation in real time since the hearing, because I wanted to make sure this was an authentic, conversation. We both said, hey, they're making the decision, but I wanted to reserve it for the show so that we could do it in real time. So the hearing, as we know, we were waiting, nerds, those of us who really follow this kind of stuff, kind of waiting on pins and needles to see, what was happening with this case. And so Judge McAfee did make the decision on Friday to gave her an ultimatum to say either you get off the case or Mr. Wade gets off the case. Now, those who are just tapping in, just want to give you a quick recap. So Fani Willis is the DA that is going after former President Donald Trump for his election interference. The phone call that many of you can remember where he's asking for the additional votes. She is the district attorney that took up that case for election interference. And the case has been something that's just been interesting, so many different parts of it. We can talk about that another time on the charges that got dismissed due to the lack of details in the case. We can unpack that another time. But what came up with this case that nobody was expecting was a personal relationship between Fani Willis and special prosecutor, Mr. Wade. And so what happened with that, Nathan Wade, actually, the judge had to make a determination if there was something inappropriate. And so the question was there a conflict of interest because they went on these trips together? And I'm paraphrasing, guys, you kind of have to do the homework and go get caught up to speed. But the question was there a conflict of interest, or was it just something that was the appearance of impropriety? And that's where Michelle and I had our conversation with, do they have to prove that there was a conflict of interest? Do they have to prove that she did something that was affecting this case, or just the appearance? So my position before the hearing came in, because we didn't know which way this judge was going to go, my position was, of course, there's the appearance that something is unethical. Doesn't mean she was benefiting from it, but just bad judgment, just unnecessary to hire the guy, that you're sleeping with in your division, unnecessary to put him on this case with former President Donald Trump, with all eyes on this particular case, unnecessary to not disclose it to all of the appropriate parties. That's where she really made the issue. Not really issue with dating anybody. You date who you want to date. But the question was, why was it not revealed? As far as him having an affair, going through his divorce, that's his business. But Michelle and I really unpacked in our last conversation, was it the appearance or a fact? And Michelle's position was, I'll let you explain what your position was on really wanting to, the proof part, and then we'll speed up and go to what the judge ultimately decided. But I'll give you a chance to explain what your original position was before this hearing came in.
Essentially my position was that it was on the defense attorneys in this hearing to basically prove that there was a conflict of interest, and a conflict of interest grave enough or significant enough to impact the outcome of the case that DA Willis has brought against former President Donald Trump. It simply wasn't enough for there to be an appearance of a conflict of interest, but that there actually needed to be a conflict of interest, and that it was on the defense attorneys to prove that, which they did not. And, throughout their even closing arguments pointed to where there was a lack of evidence that they were supposed to bring forth, or information that they needed to bring forth, so that the judge could make that determination. So that was my original
I'm getting caught up on the words. I don't know if I'm just doing semantics or not, but when you said a minute ago there wasn't enough for the appearance of conflict of interest, that's where you and I keep kind of splitting hairs. Maybe it's just I'm just getting caught up on the words.
And maybe I didn't, if that's what I said, I didn't mean to say that. Okay. They had to prove that there was a actual conflict of, okay. Yes. Okay. Not just the appearance.
They had because the appearance was absolutely like the appearance. Anything can be the appearance. It can appear to be a ghost in front of me. Doesn't mean that it is. So that's
I think that when you're the DA, and you're having to try cases across the board, that is too low of a bar or standard for a DA to uphold. I mean, you could then call into question every case that she's tried if we're just simply looking for what may appear to be a conflict of interest. And even in this case, them two dating wouldn't be a conflict of interest that would impact the election interference cases she's brought forth against former President Trump. So even then, it doesn't rise to the level I would assume it would need to for a judge to then throw out her whole
case, right? But we have to be, there's a reason why they ask you to disclose these things, and so we have to be honest about that part of it, which is she's still going to have to answer to the bar and many other organizations, including Congress, on why you did not disclose it, because essentially that was a lie. So let's get to that part. So just to catch everybody up to speed, the judge did decide. Let's just talk about what McAfee said. Again, he said you can stay on the case. The rules, this ruling, and this is quoting him, is not a complete get out of jail free card for Fani Willis. He said that the relationship does lack a tremendous lack of judgment. He did cite that, so we don't want to ignore that. I'm not beating up on Fani. I just want to, give it for what it is. Just as on a personal note, I'm glad she didn't throw away her entire career off of this. What I hate the fact that we even have to stop and deal with this just as on a personal note. But I do want to point out what the judge said. He also said the next step in the case will be for Willis to dismiss Wade, although there's no timeline on when that can happen. He said, I predict that Fani works as hard as she can to focus back on the case and off of her, in which we do know Mr. Wade resigned that very, same day. I don't know why they said an ultimatum, because really, I mean, it wasn't like she was going to get off the case for him, but
right.
I guess he needed to show some balance there, I guess. But he did say that he may possibly do a gag order because of the comments that she made at the MLK dinner. That was up for discussion as well, invoking race. We also know, Michelle, that Donald Trump they say he may possibly bring defamation charges against her as well. So we can expect that. We can expect the bar to chime in on this. We can also expect Congress, who is also, asking for a special hearing on this. So now that we know all of everything, and the judge has said, hey, this didn't look good. It was a bad error in judgment. I don't think you did the right thing, but it does not appear to be a conflict of interest. But it obviously was some level of something, Michelle, because he gave the ultimatum. So what was if the ultimatum was not on conflict of interest, what do you think it was on? Why did he not just keep them both on the case?
It was, from what I read and what I understood, it was the appearance that was enough for him to then, in his opinion, mandate that either Attorney Wade be brought off the case, or DA Willis, let go of the case overall. And on some level, as an attorney and as a DA, you're held to a higher standard of
absolutely.
Yeah. And so, and I think he said in his opinion, I don't remember the exact verbiage, that essentially there is an air of impropriety as long as Attorney Wade stays on the case. Mm-hmm. And so I think that's why he ruled that way. And although the Trump's attorneys didn't prove what they needed to prove, that there was a conflict, just the thought, the perception, the look that there could be possibly a conflict and that would overshadow the case is enough for a judge to say, you need to make a decision.
And I don't think as far as the money's concerned, so just catching folks up, they were saying, oh, they got together for these big lavish trips. And this is where I take it. I'm like, that makes no sense. They both had money who get together for what, a $3,000 cruise? I mean, come on, let's be real. I went on a cruise. I'm not just to hire you, bring you in, give you all these perks for a $3,000 cruise that we end up splitting down the middle. So I never subscribe, and I even had to tell my friend on that. She's like, yeah, I said, come on, that makes no sense. He said, I guess you're right. Yeah, I know I'm right. People that get money, they're not. What are you talking about? It's not like, if she did that, let's roll in the dough. Let's go set up something that dumping millions of dollars into, not a $3,000 cruise on the region. Trust me, I went on a cruise last year. It's not that big of a deal. So I never really took issue with that. What I take issue with, if there's anything I take issue with, is, again, you're supposed to disclose that. Just like if you work at a regular job. If you work at McDonald's, they'll ask, do you or any of your relatives work in this establishment? I'm just using it as an example. I haven't applied to McDonald's, so I don't know. But my HR background tells me that is usually a pretty standard thing. And so to skip over that, knowing that if you would have said yes, that you were intentionally manipulating the system. That has nothing to do with a conflict of interest. That is an ethical problem to me. So not enough.
It depends on the timeline. The timeline that
timeline? No.
Willis gave about when the relationship started or what have you. And I don't know about their ethical.
Whenever the timeline was, she never disclosed it. So even if I get married in real time, if I get married after I take this job, I'm supposed to let you know. This is what we know for a fact, ma'am. This is a fact.
You know that you're supposed to reveal relationships or disclose relationships in certain roles, specifically roles in politics and government and law.
No, this role particularly, it asked for it. This, ma'am, she didn't disclose it. I know you're.
I don't know what the process is.
Well, let me give you some facts. Let me give you some facts. It doesn't depend on the timeline. If you are dating the special prosecutor on the person that is your employee, forget the case. Let's just throw the case out of it. She was his boss. So if you're dating your employee, in most positions, Michelle, particularly the DA, let's not play this game, particularly the DA, who is literally the law, she intentionally did not disclose that. And they wanted it to be private. I get it. But they intentionally didn't disclose it. It doesn't depend on the timeline. That timeline applies before, after, indifferent. Period, across the board. It's something that they were supposed to tell and they did not. So what timeline are you talking about?
There was a question of the timeline of when they started dating and when he got on the case or what have you.
Because I don't know about the conflict
when they're supposed to disclose. Say that again.
Because the question of the timeline was about the conflict of interest. I'm removing the conflict of interest and I'm talking about the ethical part that the bar is going to be asking.
In general, yes, she should have disclosed that she was dating the special attorney that she hired.
Her employee, right.
Yeah. Is that enough to then throw out this entire case?
I'm not talking about throwing out the case. Are you not hearing me? I'm
listening.
What I'm taking issue at, I said, remove that. We've already dealt with that. Okay. Not enough to get off the case. Let's move on. Agree? We got that. I said what I take issue with it, and why this case is far from over, is the ethical conversation around to disclose and not to disclose, to intentionally not disclose. That is what's going to keep this conversation going and be a further distraction. So I get it. We're Black women. We live by the code. We're not going to shit on her. I get it. But at the end of the day, what I'm saying is, what is a real issue is the ethical choice that you made, Ms. Watley, to not disclose, because you knew if you disclose, you knew it was going to be a problem. Let's not pretend. So what I'm saying is, it's going to be interesting to see what that looks like. Is it going to be a fine? It's not enough for her to lose her license, lose the case, shut down the whole DA. The crime should always fit the time. It's not enough for that. Just like I don't think her using rap lyrics against rappers in Atlanta. I'm not a big fan of that either, by the way.
No.
I'm not capping for this woman or trying to say she's what. I'm just saying there is an ethical part of it that will still be ongoing that has nothing to do with this particular trial.
And if that's the case, she didn't disclose, she didn't do what she's supposed to do, then yes, that then becomes an ongoing thing. But let's not ignore the fact that Congress taking interest in this case and other entities, the local the local city council and local governmental bodies that are taking a sudden interest in this case and this, ethical breach of ethics is solely because of her not disclosing that she's had a relationship with this prosecutor that has no bearing on the case whatsoever, any other case that she takes, unless they have a relationship with the defendants on the other side.
No bearing. It's not about it being bearing or not. If you are required to disclose and you did not disclose and you are AKA the law, you were supposed to disclose. We've already settled that it has no bearing on the case. Why do we keep getting stuck on that? It's like I said, well, I stole a piece of candy, but it didn't matter. It didn't hurt everybody. Okay, but we still got to deal with you stealing that piece of candy.
We're not talking about stealing though. We're talking about essentially naming that she's in a relationship with someone that lasted a year.
No, it doesn't. No. It's even worse than a piece of candy because they've asked you, you're breaking ethical code.
I'm not saying that what she did was right or that it was okay. What I am saying is that the punishment does not fit the crime. Having Congress look into your situation, municipalities look into your situation, and the judge possibly look at pulling you from the case because of that. It does not fit the crime.
Excuse me, Tezlyn here.
You would have a whole other situation.
Tezlyn here talking. Excuse me, Michelle. Excuse me.
Yes.
You keep talking about fitting the crime, Michelle. I'm going to say it again for you in the back. I'm not talking about the case. Move on from the case. You keep talking about
the point of having to name or disclose the relationship is to see if there is a conflict with potential cases moving forward. That's the only reason why you need to disclose that. Why else would you need to disclose that? Why else do they care who you dating?
Michelle, because they asked for that in general. They asked for that of all. Stop. Don't say anything.
There's a reason why they asked for that, Tezlyn.
Please listen. Please listen. Just please be respectful and listen, because we're not even talking about the same thing. You keep talking about the bearing on the case. What I'm trying to tell you, might want to do a little bit more research on this. What I'm trying to tell you is she is required to disclose any personal relationship she has with anybody in her office, period. Whether it's a bearing on the case, not on the case, somebody working on the case, not on the case, she is responsible to disclose, not because the result is bad or good, but responsible to disclose on any of her staff, period. It's not essentially, it didn't matter. Essentially, it's not about if the result was harmful or not, Michelle. What I'm telling you, might want to dig into this to see. What I'm saying is she skipped over that part. Let's move past, it didn't hurt the case. We got it. The judges made the decision. You and I agree that she should have not been thrown off the case. We agree it was not a conflict. You keep going back to that. You keep getting stuck on that. I'm telling you to move past that because I'm trying to move the conversation forward to what we need to be looking for next. You're still talking about the case. Can we please move on past the case? Let's go to phase 2, because now the question that will be coming up with the bar, not these politically driven organizations like Republicans in Congress, they're bringing it up because they're going to say she's trying to hurt Donald Trump. I get that. The Republicans are bringing it up in the House because they're going to say she's trying to hurt Donald Trump. What I'm trying to get you to talk about, my legal partner who will be one day practicing together, hopefully, what I'm telling you is there are bar associations and ethical organizations that will be digging into the fact that you went against the ethical requirements within your office.
That's the case, that the Bar Association and other governing legal entities that govern attorneys are going to have questions about that. I'm not arguing that. What I'm arguing essentially is that you have to disclose who your relationship with, past jobs you've had, contracts that you've had when you work in government or as a prosecutor or in any legal setting. You have to provide, or political setting, you have to provide those disclosures because they're trying to mitigate any conflicts of interest.
But the point is whether you mitigate it or not.
My point is that between Congress and the state level, municipal level governments that are going after her over this breach of ethics for not disclosing who she was dating is because of her failure to disclose and other things. It can be more than one thing at once.
To do with the fact that you were supposed to disclose it. That's the bottom line. It doesn't matter. Yeah, they want to know because they want to make sure it's not a conflict of interest. Well, if you know it's not a conflict of interest, why the hell you didn't disclose it?
And I'm not D.A. Willis, and I can't.
Yeah, the bottom line is maybe. See, I didn't get a chance to see. My mother was different, and I hate when only children get this rule that they got shit to pass. See, nothing passed in my house. The bottom line is, I told you to come here at 10 o'clock. Let's just make this real simple. I told you to be in the house at 10 o'clock. Well, me staying out past 10 essentially didn't bother nothing. I still was out. I still this and that. I still did what I was supposed to do. No, the bottom line, let me give a real example. My daughter's 16. So you know Jada. She comes to me the other day. She says, Mama, we really need to talk about me staying out past midnight. Because nobody, you know, at least I want to be able to go to Whataburger or Buddha. I said, Jada, the law in the state where she drives, the law says that 16-year-olds have to be in at midnight. Yeah, but I'm a good driver. So she immediately starts positioning her case. But I'm a good driver. I don't get any tickets. I'm not going to get pulled over. I'm not going to this. I'm not going to that. No, see, the law requires you to have your ass in the house at midnight. Doesn't matter if you're still a good driver. Doesn't matter if you're just around the corner. Doesn't matter if you're this or that. Doesn't matter if I even trust you being out till 12:30 or 1. The law says 1 o'clock. And then she presented, well, what about if Andy drives? I say again, little Michelle Jr., just because.
Yeah, we sound a lot alike.
Y'all sound a lot alike. Yeah, at least, you know, little Michelle, yeah, at least little Michelle niece. Just because Andy's driving and essentially I'm not driving and essentially is this or that and oh, it really doesn't matter. Ma'am, you're supposed to be in the house at midnight. Bottom line, I know you don't like it. I know it don't make sense, but I'm not picking you up from nobody's police car, nobody's cruiser. And you know how I feel about, you know, getting pulled over. It's a huge anxiety to me because of the work that we do.
Yes.
So I don't need no excuse for no police officer to pull you over at midnight because in your mind, you figured out that there was no conflict, there was no problem, there was no whatever. And then I got to pick you up in a police cruiser or something worse. Something had happened to you because of your reaction. So it is not about, well, it never hurt anybody. So what's the point? The point is you were required to do something and you did not. And that punishment doesn't mean take her license away, put her out of the county, you know, stone her to death. No, I'm not saying that, Michelle. I'm saying we still have to deal with that. We don't know what that punishment is at this moment. And that's what I wanted. That's what I was trying to sit around. We don't know what that punishment is. It might just be a fine. I mean, it might be nothing at all. It may be, hey, y'all resolved that you fired him, so let's move on. But we can't skip over it because the man said one of y'all got to go and your conduct was unacceptable. And when you are the law, this woman is the law. Let's stop playing like this is just some supervisor at HR. She sets the tone for the law, for the county. There's a different, not only do you have a moral character responsibility as an attorney, as you know, it's even higher as the DA. You're literally the law, Michelle. So we can't just, as bad as we want to root, go black woman, go, as bad as we still have to understand that that's a part of that we're still going to have to unpack. And we can still defend her and say, let's make sure the crime fit the time. I'm all about that. I'm all about that, DA Willis, because a whole lot of people you done prosecuted, she done prosecuted that the crime did not fit the time. So even though she's done people the same way, I'll advocate for her in the same way. But I don't want people hearing this to skip over that and go to that. But essentially, that's not the point.
No, and I don't think that should be skipped over. And I don't think that we should ignore it. And I think championing Black women to being in these positions doesn't require us to ignore the facts. She should have disclosed that she was in the relationship and she did not, and whatever comes of that comes of that. But what shouldn't come of that is a congressional hearing and investigation into her conduct. What shouldn't come of that is essentially this judge calling her professional on the stand, her professionalism on the stand, her
I agree with that.
Behavior on the stand as unprofessional. I don't think that that's warranted. I don't think that a local municipality digging into the judge's opinion that her behavior on the stand was unprofessional.
Right, I agree with that.
Municipalities having, you know, hearings on whether she on her work as a DA, you know, and looking at her authority. I don't think that crime fits the time. I think that what we have here is Donald Trump pulling, as you love to say, a whataboutism instead of being standing 10 toes down on his position and going.
What would you do if somebody was coming after me? And I'm definitely not capping for. Let's put our political cap on, and then we got to wrap up here in a second. Let's put our operative hat on. If you were running against me, girl, I'm about to run all this up on Congress, state.
And if I had to face you on a Instagram or a TV show, the first thing you would say is, "This is a whataboutism. Let's stick to the point." And the point is that
wait a minute. Let me back up.
This man has brought the former president to trial for election interference. And that needs to be the focus, not who she's dating.
Michelle, stop. You didn't even hear anything I said. I didn't say anything about debating me on no damn TV. I said if I was a campaign manager and your candidate did this, I would absolutely be calling a Congress hearing. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I understand why they're doing it.
Oh, I'm not saying I don't disagree. We're both operatives. We put our political hat on. That's what you do. But by the same token, in this case and in this discussion, we are not the operatives advising Donald Trump. We are the pundits.
I'm not advising Donald Trump. I'm also not advising. I'm also not advising
or any other candidate in this situation.
I know, but I'm giving you my operative hat, saying I totally understand why they're doing it, and it's not going to change.
We get why they're doing it. There's not a question about why they're doing it, but what it is a whataboutism, a major whataboutism, and we're falling to the and people are falling to the discussion of who she was dating and whether she disclosed it and all of these other things, and not talking about.
Well, then she better hire you. Well, then she better hire you. Election. Well, I guess she better hire you then to get people to redirect it, because the same way I'm not an operative for Trump, I damn sure ain't one for no DA. So let's just put that on the line. I'm not one for no DA, black woman or not. So maybe she should hire Michelle Watley is available to redirect the conversation, because I'm just giving all sides of it. I'm just telling you, if I was an operative, if I was on anybody's campaign, oh yeah, I'm gonna run it up, all the way up. It doesn't mean it's right.
Doing exactly what they're supposed to do, creating this whataboutism and this distraction, but it is still at its core a whataboutism. And at the end of the day, this is about election interference.
Yeah, and the president needs to answer. And you know why? At the end of the day, why she should just let somebody else be the face of this? Because at the end of the day, it is about election interference. So if it was me, I would be glad that I didn't get put off, but I would step aside and let somebody else be the face, because it is about election interference and not about me versus somebody else. I would actually put the case forward and say, hey, you know what? Because guess what, Michelle? Remember we talked about this, because we talked about this offline. She can still be a part of this case. Let somebody else be the face. Remember, your argument was, well, she's the only one in the world that can do it. I disagree, but let's just.
That was not my argument that she's the only one in the world.
Damn, there was. But the point is, can we agree to this? And I don't give a damn if we agree or not, because I'll just call you when the show is over and just.
I don't know why you're worried about agreement. You ain't never listened to my consensus in none of these discussions.
Yeah, it's fine. I don't give a damn if you agree or not. I'm just asking this just for the shits and giggles. Can we agree?
What would you like for us to have fake consensus on?
I agree on this. Yes. Okay. Now that she's not put off the case, because she's the only one that can figure it out, according to Michelle. Now that she's not put on the case, can she work on the case and let somebody else be the face? Can we agree with that? So that way they don't have to talk about it. Let's remove that. That way they don't have to do all this unfair whataboutism, this and that. Don't you think she can take us? And that's not a slant to her.
I think she can do it all. I think she pulled, weight off the case, which then that's that conflict. If she's willing to, step aside and let someone else do it, that's an option also.
I know it's an option.
I don't know that I have an answer for that. I think that when you look
take a stand, Michelle, do you think she should step aside and still work on the case just to avoid it being a distraction? Nothing to do with, well, Trump don't have to step aside. No. Do you think that if all I'm gonna be talking about is who Michelle slept with for the last 8 months, you didn't get put off? So thank God for that. So now you're empowered. Now you're empowered to say, okay, I'm still in this case, and you still gonna have to deal with this trial about election interference. I'm gonna let Tezlyn be the face of it, and then y'all can go dig up something on her. But until then, you're gonna deal with Tezlyn face to face, and not me. I don't have to be the one in the camera, the only one as the face of this case. You don't agree to that?
I think that the DA should make whatever decision is best in order to ensure that this election interference comes full circle.
That's okay, guys. Michelle likes to take the safe route. I'm telling you, DA Willis, that in order so that Michelle will have to make excuses for you for the next 8 months, next 6-7 months, I would love to see you give it to somebody else. Let them be the face. I don't think that everybody has to be the face of every single thing. You know this, Michelle. You know this, that I work with clients. I deeply believe this. Even with my clients, some of my best clients, Attorney Benjamin Crump, I say all the time, you don't have to be the face for everything. Sometimes the activist needs to be the face. Sometimes the attorney needs to be the face. Sometimes the political person needs to be the face. We have got to get to the point where we let people run the play that best serves the outcome. And that's not
I agree with that. The person that run the play to run.
Why won't you?
Because I don't know the ins and outs of the case. I'm not the one that can make that decision.
Based on the information,
and like we discussed last time, Trump is going to, whoever they put up in front is going to find what about is. So are we just going to continue with these whataboutisms until we figure out?
Let's deal with this one. Let's deal with this one. You didn't know anything else about it, and you made these other profound statements. You just don't know the ins and outs of the case.
There's a difference in knowing, what we're reading in the
paper.
paper.
Please, this is a simple question. Should somebody else be the face or not? And the bottom line is, you don't want to do that because you're sticking to the code of Shirley's Kitchen Cabinet. And I ain't got no problem. Just be a gangster about it and say, bottom line, I'm not fit to sit up here and help nobody shit on it. And that's that. I respect that. But let's not sit up here and you're too brilliant or too bright to sit up here and act like you don't have no damn opinion. We ain't fit to play that game. So Michelle, bottom line is she's sticking to the code. And that's good. We need everybody sticking to the code. She's the founder of Shirley's Kitchen Cabinet. She's sticking to the code. She's saying, I'm not telling her to go no damn where. I'm riding with her to the end. Fonnie, I'm riding with you too. That's exactly what you're saying, because you're too brilliant.
I think Danielle Willis is capable of making whatever decision is best.
I didn't ask what she. Well, of course we know that. I asked, what would you do? Would you step aside and let somebody be the face?
If it were me in that situation, Wade wouldn't even be a factor.
Right, but I'm talking about right now. Right now, though, would you step aside and let somebody else be the face?
If there was a chance that they would
Michelle,
bottom line, would you have to think about that?
They don't think about it. Would you step aside and let somebody else be the face? If you got by with still being on the case without being put off, and you know damn well this is getting ready to be a distraction for 5 months, it's a simple question, ma'am.
It will always be a distraction. I guess that's
my point. That. I'm asking you a simple question. Would you step aside, yes or no? And if you don't want to go on the record saying it, just say it. Don't bullshit me. I don't like that. Yes or no?
Not bullshit. We both operatives. We know how to answer these questions. And
I know how to answer. You ain't
to make that decision.
You pussyfooting around. I didn't ask if she's capable of doing it. I asked, what would you do? Would you step aside?
I'm not a DA. I have no clue what I would do.
Bottom line, you don't want to take a stand on it. That's it. Like I said, y'all, Michelle ain't gonna go against the code. That's the bottom line. And I ain't mad at you. I do want you to
I'm not going to be cornered into answering a question that I'm not equipped to answer. It's nothing to be scared of.
I'm asking you.
If I were in that situation, Ray wouldn't even be a factor.
We know that.
I'm in that situation.
Girl, so stop being scared to answer the goddamn question.
In that situation.
See, I didn't plan on using big cuss words here, but you know I don't like this girl. Just stand on it. Just bottom line say, I'm not fit to help them. Just say, I'm not fit to give them talking points. That's how you got to say, Michelle. Just keep it real.
You're too damn brilliant. You bother me.
No, because you're too damn brilliant to sit up here and say what you would not do. Let us stop it. Because
I don't know what I would do in that situation.
Yes, your ass do. Yes, you do. You would either say, no, I ain't getting off because the white man ain't got to get off. Or you would say, no, I'm going to get off and I'm going to let somebody else be the face. This shit ain't hard. You just don't want to do it because you don't want to give them the talking point. You think by somehow saying it is giving them the talking points. And that's
no, I just don't think that I'm in position to answer that question. I don't know.
Why are you here then? Why do I have you on here? If you can't tell me your person.
Because I'm in a position to answer a lot of other questions.
You answered a whole bunch of other shit though, but you don't want to answer this. Girl, I don't like weak sauce. You know I don't like weak sauce. Bottom line, y'all, I'm closing out the show. Michelle don't want to go on the record, and that's fine. That's why I have her here. This is what you call a shield. She don't want to.
Wait, you doing what? I hate a shield because I don't want to answer your question.
Because you know the damn answer.
That is not.
Okay, let's give the answer. Let's give the answer. If this was you, I'd be telling you.
You question me, according to me, to give an answer. My answer is this. Essentially, they're doing this to prosecutors.
We know that. That ain't what I'm asking you. I'm not asking you that. Remove this out of it.
Am I gonna step off of this case because of a whataboutism? Come on,
you wouldn't. Okay, so say you wouldn't stand on business.
I don't know what I would do. That's what I'm saying.
And well, then take a damn guess. Take a guess. I have you on.
I'm not taking an educated guess, a non-educated guess.
Girl, stop the bullshit.
I'm not or butter biscuit or any other term.
Come on now, Michelle. I don't have you on it because fool. Stop playing me. Stop playing me. If your answer is, I'm not getting off nowhere over this one thing because y'all gonna always find something. Then stand on that shit. If your answer is me to saying no, I think you need to set ego aside and let somebody else do a stand on that shit. I don't have you out here to be playing no game about. I'm not equipped to answer.
It's not a game. You're giving me a dichotomy. It's either you stand 10 toes down and step off because I'm not letting this white man, decide my fate.
That's right.
Or I'm gonna put ego aside. And it's not about, I don't think it's black and white, ego, or am I
right? But if you had to pick black and white,
I don't
pick
think
one.
that those things
Pick
are black
one. You
and
picked
white.
everything else. You just don't want to pick this. You just didn't want to pick this.
The DA is best suited, and she's made a decision that
Girl, I don't like weak shit. I'm gonna say it one more time, and I'm gonna close it out. And I don't need no comeback. Bottom line is, girl, you don't want to pick a side, and I don't like shit like that. And if you don't want to pick a side, that's fine. Just say I don't want to pick a side. Just keep it a buck. The people need better. They expect better from me, and I can't let it slide. I love you to death, but I'm not going to play no game with you. You know what you would do if it was you, and you can make a guess on what you would do. You're the answer of, I'm not equipped to answer. That's a bunch of bullshit. You've been in for 30, 40 minutes answering a whole bunch of stuff that you ain't equipped to answer. So let's not play that game. Our people deserve differently, and women deserve differently. And if you're going to ride for black women, I'm gonna tell you this as your friend, sister, whatever you want to call it. If you're gonna ride for black women and say I'm riding the code, if y'all don't have to sit down, I ain't sitting down and say that shit. Don't come in here playing this game about I ain't equipped. Pick a side or step aside. You don't like that. I don't like that, Michelle. Pick a side or step aside. You can ride with it. Ride with it. They stand 10 toes down for what they believe in. Stand your ass up. Stand on business then. Don't say she's equipped to answer. No, you're saying no. I'm not going to, y'all going to always have a problem with something I'm doing. Essentially what you're saying is they're going to always have a problem with everything she do. If it's somebody else, they're going to find something with that. They're going to find something with this. They're going to find something. Stand on that shit. People respect that, Michelle, a whole lot more than us sitting up here talking about, I'm not equipped to answer. Don't play them kind of games. They expect more from black women. One thing black women always going to have is clarity. If nothing else, we're gonna be clear. Even if we're wrong, if we coming to bail you out of jail, we're gonna cuss you out all the way home, but we're gonna still bail you out of jail. So it's okay to take a position. Women need to hear that, and they need to know my position can be different than yours. Which is, if it was me, I'd rather focus it on the trial. But I don't think it's right or fair. Two things can be done at the same time. I don't think it's right or fair, but I'm not gonna let you talk about me for 8 months. I'm gonna move that on out the way. Oh, don't worry about it then. Let me move on out the way so that we can talk about you. You're gonna have to find something else to talk about. And then yes, when you put Tezlyn in charge, now y'all gotta spend time digging up her shit and talking about her. I get that, but I'm just to move on out the way. It's kind of like with a man. Oh, for real, you don't want a relationship? Let me go ahead and move on out the way then. Let me be whatever you need to be, baby, because I'm not gonna block you at all. Remember, right. Politics is always a relationship. So I love you, and we can debate this later. But I think it's okay to somebody.
We're gonna debate it later. You gonna call me as soon as this is done.
Well, because I think it's okay to stick to the code. I just want you to be able to say it. I talk to you about that all the time. I want you to be able to say it. One thing about it is people don't always have to agree with what I like, but they damn sure know I'm gonna take a position. And if I don't want to take a position, I just don't want to take a position. But I'll tell you, I'm not taking a position, and this is why. I'm not taking a position because I'm not about to help the people that's trying to destroy her with talking points. That's fine. That's fine.
I'm not trying to take a position. Does that resonate?
Why are you not trying to take a position? You don't want to finish the sentence?
Oh, okay. I'm not taking a position because A, I don't know enough about the process. If she were to step away and decide to let someone else take that, that's why I'm not taking a position. B, I do think that at times when you're in a leadership position, ego comes into play. And C, I do think that no matter who they put up there, they're going to find someone else. And hell, number 4, I also think that if she were, because she's a black woman, she's taking heat, that she would not take otherwise. I think all of those things are true.
But I'm not talking about her. I asked you, I said, what would you do? So knowing the process.
I would be experiencing the same thing as a black woman.
If you, I'm not asking you, I'm not asking you, I don't know the position that she would lead. I asked you a very simple question. Michelle, would you rather take the heat off or on you? Simple.
She's a DA. She always got heat on her.
I said, Michelle. So that means you would say.
I'm not been a DA and I don't.
So that means you would say, it's going to always be heat, so bring the smoke. That's all your answer got to be. Just pick a damn answer. That's it.
That's not my answer. I told you my answer is I don't want to take a stance.
Well, we don't need weak sauce in our community. So that's the bottom line. We need you taking a stand. All those things can be true. And you're too brilliant.
All those things are true. You know they're true. You know that.
Right. But
what it means for the case if she steps out. We also know that ego is in play here. We also know that as a black woman, she's experienced the heat that no one else would experience. They're calling her behavior unprofessional. And we watch the Supreme Court justice, trial. And no one called his behavior unprofessional.
I'm not talking about none of those things.
Opportunity to take this opinion and essentially chastise her for how she handled this. You wouldn't have that if she were not a Black woman.
Of course, but that's not what I asked you.
At the same
But
time.
that's not what I asked you. That's not any of the things that
But
I
those are the things you have to take into your calculus.
No, but no, because I've asked you.
Should I step down?
I've asked you a simple damn question, which is, would you want them to keep bringing up all of those unfair things, or give it to somebody else, or would you say, I want the smoke? I know all this shit is wrong. I know y'all treat me wrong. I know y'all chastising me, and I want the smoke. Bring the smoke.
I don't have a stance. I don't want to give a stance.
Okay, and that's fine. You're just a person that can't give a stance. I made it very clear for you, and you just don't want to give a stance. And I'm telling you, that doesn't serve us well. It doesn't serve us well, and it's not why I have you on the show. I have you on the show because I know you're brilliant, and I know you're going to hang up this damn phone, and I know you're going to say, no, I'm not fit to go on side. You don't want to pile up on her. I get it because everybody's piling up on her. Just say it. Man, I swear to God, people respect it. They really do. They really do. I'm not going to pile up on her. I tell people all the time, I'm biased, straight up. I'm not going to pile up on her. Y'all pile up on her. That's fine. And I'm still not piling up on her in this stance. I'm just saying, if it was me, I would remove me and let you go find dirt on somebody else. All those other things you're talking about are true, Michelle, but they don't have to be in the equation of what I'm saying. What would you do, future attorney? What would you do? This is not a hard thing. It's not a hard thing either. And it sounds like your answer is, I'm going to keep fighting to the end. Like you're doing with this debate, fighting all the way to the end. That's just what you do. I said that at the beginning, that when you stand on it, you stand on it. Even if you dead ass wrong, you believe in what you believe in, and that's okay. Say that. People look for leadership like that. Even if somebody don't have to agree with you, Michelle, just that's where I stand. That's it. Glad to have you.
Happy to
Oh, guys, thank you so much.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, no worries. I'll make you take it. And we talk about this all the time. People don't want to take tough stands. That's okay. That's why you are my yin to my yang. When somebody don't want to take a stand, or they want to hear somebody, oh, I'm not a bullshit answer, I refer them, I send them on over to Michelle. When you want to know this, that, come on over to me. Straight shot, no chase. I'm telling you, sit your ass down and stand your ass up. It's really not that hard, guys. It's really not. It's not. We like to make it hard because we're afraid to say, no, I'm biased. That's that. That's it. I'm not going to help them bring her down, even though, trust me, they're not going to be listening to this and saying, ooh, Michelle gave a talking point. Let's run with it. They've already got their play in place. So trust me, you're not helping or hurting. I just want this for our listener, people listen to us, because guess what? These are real things that we have to deal with for real. And you better damn well know how you will move in this situation, because if you're going to be in any type of boss position, any type of power, you better be thinking about these things. Are you willing to ride it all the way out and die for the cause and fall on the sword? Or are you willing to step back? And that we have to make these decisions every day.
Every day, you got to decide if you're going to step up or step back.
That's it.
Position.
And every day, and that's why we got people that do different things. Mm-hmm. So that's why when you call me and people call me, they know I'm gonna take a stand. See, I can't say, well, I'm not equipped to take a stand. That ain't why people call me. That's not why I'm on the Netflix documentary saying I'm willing to die for the cause. What cause? Essentially, this cause could be that cause, and essentially cause and effect and all of that. No.
I don't sound like that, first of all. If you're going to imitate me, get it correct. And secondly, yes, there's a reason why you're on that mic, but there's a reason why I do what I do.
That's right. And we just want to lay it on out. When I want somebody to go round about the mulberry bush, I happily refer them to Michelle, because she's the best.
Never seen a mulberry bush, and neither have I. If you want multiple perspectives, things about.
I'm gonna give you multiple respect, but I'm still gonna give you straight shot, don't chase it. And I can tell you, baby sister, if this was you on this, oh girl, you be sitting your ass down. I can tell you that right now. I can help you make the decision for you.
You wouldn't let me. You wouldn't let me.
Girl, I wish you would.
Like they ain't finna do me.
Girl, I wish you would sit up here and have them embarrassing us and dragging us through all of your multiple relationships, because it ain't just Mr. Wade. They about to dig and go back and find everybody.
Yeah, they got to find them all.
They looking to find them all, girl. All the bodies. I wish you would, girl.
And Michelle, the way they talking, Mr. Wade and his friend, they might be able to find them. Look, they'll please the breadcrumbs.
That's right. So let me make a decision for you. If this was you,
Well, that's my stance. If I end up in that situation, Tezlyn will make the decision for me.
Oh, absolutely. Yo, girl, you'll be sitting down. First of all, why the hell we up in? Are you serious? You was up into Mr. Wade, Michelle. Are you serious? Out of all the bus drivers, truck drivers you could have dated, this is what we do? You done did all of this to get to this spot.
Right.
I just get frustrated just thinking about it. Just thinking about you explaining this shit to me. Because I can see you explaining it. I really can see it. And you know I can't. I can see
do. He chocolate tall.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like you said last time. Oh, things happen. Close proximity. This and that.
Yeah, it's not exactly far-fetched that I might end up in that situation. So my stance.
That's right. Yeah, you didn't have no problem taking no stance on that.
That's my stand.
Oh, you took a stance on that. Oh man. Oh, did y'all notice that she took a major stance on that? Oh no, close proximity, things happen. You never know. He's chocolate. He's this. He's that. I haven't dated in a while. It's okay. Shit happens. Oh man, you took a major stance without additional information when it came to
taking the information in my calculus, and my stance is that whatever Tezlyn tells me to do in that situation, that's what I'm doing. Clearly, I'm sitting down.
I wish you would have him to drag us all through this for the next 6
months. The two of us are now in trouble, and no, Tezlyn's
oh girl, the bodies they would dig up on you. Hell no, let's just let somebody else take that position. That's okay. Let them get investigated. We don't need you on the spot.
You go speaking engagements and stuff. You talk to colleges now.
That's right. Get your ass off this ASAP. All right, y'all. Oh, shit, thank you for tapping in with Tezlyn Figaro. I love my Michelle. These are really our conversations for real, y'all. I hope she comes back. I hope I didn't run her off.
Oh no, I'm not going anywhere. I know what I'm gonna do next show. I'm gonna be I've got that down. Is that
you got a stance down? Okay.
Got a stance on that. I will be here at the next show when you invite me.
Anytime, y'all. Thank you for tapping in with Tezlyn Figaro. Peace.